下面我就来和盖姆教授连线，谈谈他的研究经历以及他想对中国人民说的话。
What kind of new research are you doing these years?
Oh, actually, after the Nobel Prize, we started several subjects. It's about two-dimensional materials. So we study now properties of this two-dimensional state, which I sometimes call 2D Wu, 2D nothing, okay, in Chinese 2D Wu.
Oh, I see.
2D Wu. Shows completely. I mean, it's the smallest empty space you can create. It's only one atom high, empty, and we studied how molecules, atoms, water go through these ultimately small capillaries. That's a big subject. Our post-graphene subject research. It's a little bit related, but not in terms of physics, but in terms of technology, because two-dimensional materials offer so much possibilities that I try to use those possibilities, experimental possibilities, to study new subjects, but it's completely different, not related to any physics and technology brought by graphene. Another jump from frog to graphene to two-dimensional Wu.
Thank you very much. That's amazing. So we are looking forward for more interesting results from your group.
Thank you.
It's an interesting thing that you and your partner, Professor Konstantin Noslov, are both Russians. You are both born in Russia, right? And
I was born in Russia, but I never called myself Russian.
Oh, really?
I was in Soviet Union and I was a Soviet citizen, and then I left to the West, so I have never been Russian, and my parents are German. For everyone in Russia, when people say Gaim, my name, they know that it's not Russian name, so I have never was called Russian, and with German parents and with this surname, it was not very comfortable to grow in Russia, because there was official and non-official discrimination. It would be like for a Chinese person by the name Yuan Zhang, for example. Okay, I don't know your surname, but to grow in Japan, for example, you can imagine how it would be for a Chinese person. And then you come to China and people start calling you Japanese. So that's how I would how I feel about. I do speak Russian and I have many friends, but in Russia, but I'm not can consider myself Russian, especially after 30 years living in the West.
I see. So interesting. So your background is crossing many cultures. So maybe this is one of the origin of your scientific style, right?
Yeah, it certainly influenced my history of my family and history of moving from different places, and even history of discrimination against Germans in the Soviet Union certainly influenced my mentality and the way I work.
Yeah. It's truly amazing. So actually, one of my postdoc supervisors, Professor Rod Hoffman, you know him?
I heard the name,
yes.
But I don't know.
He won the Nobel Prize of Chemistry in 1981, and he was born in 1937. That's 2 years before the Second World War, before Hitler invaded Poland, and he was born in Poland. So his childhood was very tough.
Yeah, sure.
I can totally understand that. So, do you often go back to Russia in recent years? So, how is the situation of science and education in Russia?
I completely lost connection with Russian science and technology. I get visitors and who are Russian scientists, but I get mostly PhD students and postdocs who have very good education in Russia. But having said that, I have more Chinese PhD students and postdocs.
I see.
In my laboratory, and some of them are extremely good. And I certainly travel much more to China, probably 3 times a year. Yeah, well,
Thank you very much.
This one there, so I know China quite well. So yeah, and, I haven't been in Russia in the last 10 years at all. So it's kind of a complicated relation with my place of birth. Yeah.
I see. So in this sense, you are really a world citizen.
Yeah, I consider myself European. Yeah. These days, because of heritage, of my genes, which are European genes, and yeah, I spend probably a lot of time every year in China, and I have a lot of scientific connection. So I travel 3-4 times a year to China, and I haven't been in the US for probably for a couple of years.
Oh, really? So, since you are so familiar with China, so how do you think about the science and education in China? Do you have some suggestion to China?
Yeah, I look. I know China. I know I have been in many cities. Okay, some of my PhD students and postdocs said that I have been in 10 times more cities than they have ever been in China, despite being Chinese. I have many colleagues working together, for example, from people from Shenzhen and people from Beijing and Xiamen. We have close working contacts, and there are excellent world-class scientists in China. Generally, still, China is more kind of applied science, very strong on the applied sciences. Fundamental science is still second to US, but in terms of applied science, China is really on the top of the world and catching very quickly in terms of fundamental research. And often Chinese are worrying about, winning Nobel Prizes and etc. You shouldn't worry. Usually takes it takes 30-40 years after person discovered something to get the Nobel Prize. In most cases, I was kind of exception.
Yes, that's what I want to say.
Yes, but generally it takes a long time. I'm pretty sure that there are already Nobel Prizes in China which would be awarded in the next few decades. This is how it is. China is very strong scientifically these days.
Thank you very much. You are very friendly with Chinese people. We ourselves are very concerned about our lack of the fundamental research. And just as you said, we are mostly concentrated on applied research. So do you have some suggestion for Chinese people to increase our attention to fundamental research?
I think fundamental research is extremely important for any countries, because the basic foundation of successful technology, applied research, industry is fundamental research. You remove this fundamental layer and all this house of cards would collapse. And you already see, probably China is a good example, because the lack of fundamental science is missing. The knowledge and strategy and intelligence of fundamental researchers a little bit not transferred into another layer of applied research. People who are doing applied research, they don't have this knowledge and expertise which comes from the people from another fundamental level. And you really see that applied research sometimes is in China is not the quality which is required to make technological breakthroughs. And this level of fundamental research would stimulate higher quality applied research, which in turn would bring technological developments. That would be my advice to Chinese leadership, to put more money in fundamental research with knowing that it would improve the quality of applied research and developing technology.
I totally agree. Thank you so much. So at last, do you have some word to the general Chinese audience?
I know that knowledge and education is very important for Chinese culture, and parents try to push their children to do higher education, really to become knowledgeable. But what happens all over the world, including happening in China, that now money rather than knowledge becomes more and more important for young generation of people. My message is that if you're well educated, you can always make good living, will be rich, maybe not super rich, but will be rich and happy, but and smart. But if you are super rich, and if you are stupid and not educated, no money will ever buy you smartness, ever. Your brain, you can't buy a brain for whatever money in the world. So always try to choose knowledge and education over money. That's my message.
That's great.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yes, sir. Nice to meet
Okay.
you.
Good luck with your interview.
Thank you.